God's country, huh?
This is where it's at, brother. Lots of good skiing, lots of good loving. What else could a man ask for?
Did you know that there are 260 known sexual positions?
I did not know that.
Well, that's the pretzel. She knows 400. Hi, I'm Tom Moore.
Joe Stryker. I'm not going to be relevant for another hour into this film.
And what film are we talking about?
The Ultimate Thrill.
Everything always turns out right. Pretzel! Pretzel. Joseph, didn't you know that there are 224 recognized positions for making love? You say so. Okay, I do. And that's the pretzel. She knows 400.
It's a bad movie that nobody talks about.
I don't even think many people know this movie.
Maybe people can find this. It's got Britt Ekland in it.
Britt Ekland was a babe.
At her hottest.
She was a good knight.
Man with the Golden Gun.
Man with the Golden Gun.
I like a girl in a bikini. No concealed weapons.
Check out our ranking of Bond films if you want to know where that ranks.
Yep.
Anywhere.
It doesn't rank very high.
It does not. And she had done Wicker Man.
Totally forgot about that. She did The Wicker Man with the great
Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee.
Who was the Bond villain in The Man with the Golden Gun.
And The Man with the Golden Gun.
It all comes back to Bond.
So there's a connection.
Comes to Bond. You disappoint me. You get as much fulfillment out of killing as I do, so why didn't you admit it?
So this movie's pretty bad. Well, it's very bad.
It's a relic of the 70s, quaaludes and skiing and white people.
So you can't get more white than Vail, Colorado.
You cannot. Or white people in Vail, Colorado.
Yeah.
Rich white people in Vail, Colorado in 1974.
And probably a lot of white cocaine.
Yeah. Maybe that's the ultimate thrill.
Well, I guarantee you it was part of it. But the thing about this movie is I feel like it was almost like a little advertisement for Vail, Colorado.
I think the Vail Tourism Board, whatever that was, definitely played a part in this for sure. This movie has pretty much 10 or 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of plot.
Very thin plot, yeah.
Padded out with lots of
unnecessary
skiing.
Yep.
Lots of skiing, mixed with shots in Vail.
Yeah.
Of people walking around.
It actually kicks off, I think, with skiing shots and this horribly cheesy music that comes in. It's kind of thriller music that comes in periodically.
Really bad score. If the score smelled, it would probably reek of 70s cologne.
Yeah.
And probably quaaludes or cocaine too.
Why should
Besides Britt Ekland, it has Eric Braeden.
Oh, Eric Braeden from he was in Titanic.
Hey, Astor.
Well, hello, Molly. Nice to see you.
I know him from Escape from the Planet of the Apes. He's the villain.
Zira, I want that baby. If you won't give it to me, I'll shoot.
He is the main bad guy of the movie.
If you were going to say there's a plot of the movie, it's a rehash of The Most Dangerous Game. He is a capitalist asshole, basically hunting man. And that is the threadbare plot of this film.
Who directed this movie?
His name's Robert Butler. He did a lot of television. The Cage mean anything to you?
The only time I've ever used the words The Cage is when I've watched Star Trek.
He directed that.
Check the circuit. All operating, sir. Can't be the screen then.
He directed 2 episodes of Columbo.
This happens to be Lieutenant Columbo of the LAPD, who is your everyday, average, typical, downtrodden American husband. Don't you agree?
Another one is Publisher Parish, which had Mickey Spillane in it.
He's dead already.
The bad guy in that one was also in this movie.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
I can't believe somebody that's got these technical skills directed this movie, because this movie is poorly directed, poorly edited. There's so much wrong with this movie.
This may be one of the easiest movies ever made, because besides being an advertisement for Vail,
we can do quaaludes and smoke pot in somebody's chateau.
Yeah.
In Vail for a month.
And if you think about the actual breakdown of the movie, a lot of the footage could have been done before the actors even showed up.
Yeah. And then they just matched the costume to the actors.
Right.
to the B-roll footage, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And the main scenes being with the actors, like cheesy sets of like, bedrooms and cheesy 70s.
There are no sets.
Actually, you're right.
Everything is filmed on location.
Actually, you're right.
I will give the movie credit for that. But that adds to your original theory that this was like some sort of like tourism pitch by the city.
So I'll go to Vail and make a movie.
Yeah.
So we talked about Eric Braeden and Britt Ekland. Let's talk about the cheesy dude in the beginning who plays Tom Moore.
Well, we mentioned this is like the most dangerous game. The most dangerous skiing game.
But before we get into the danger, we're just meeting like these kind of cheeseball.
Yeah, a plane lands in Vail.
Plane lands, you meet Eric Braeden, he's the businessman.
He gets off on the same plane with these two like dudes that are just there to like
ski.
Party and
ski.
Party and ski.
It's Tom Moore and Joe Stryker.
Tom Moore, who by the way is supposed to be like this handsome dude, but he looks like one of the fucking Morlocks from The Time Machine. Like this guy was supposed to be 70s handsome.
Do we know this actor in anything else?
His name is Michael Blodgett. He was in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls.
Lance Rock.
That's it.
Written by Roger Ebert, by the way.
I did not know that Roger Ebert even wrote films.
He did. Well, that's why he became a critic.
Anyway, Tom Moore is talking to, or sees, Britt Ekland, completely hits on her.
Well, he calls her merchandise, too. Check out the merchandise.
Why don't you let me buy you a drink at my place? Or your place? Any place. Wait a minute. You're really something else. You know that.
Is this 74 or 75?
74. Yeah, his objectifying a woman is just not even questioned.
That's what you do.
He's a really bad actor, this guy.
It's all yours, pal. Next time, use some manners.
She's not interested in him.
She's not
all.
Right.
At all.
Yeah.
She's there to pick up Eric Braeden, her husband, who's also, for some reason, on the plane, even though later he has his own private helicopter. Right. So why he's on this charter plane to Vail.
It's kind of weird.
Doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. I guess just have all the characters kind of together in that intro.
That's the only reason.
At any rate, so we meet Tom Moore, we meet some of the other characters, and then we follow Tom Moore and we meet another character who becomes one of the main characters of the film.
Joe Stryker.
Played by
Barry Brown.
Barry Brown.
And
I have known nothing else that Barry Brown has done.
He did a lot of TV. That's all I can tell you. If you're a Barnaby Jones fan,
yes!
you might know who he is.
Oh my God, he was in that Barnaby Jones episode.
With guest stars Barry Brown, tonight's episode, Hostage.
Joe disappears for like the next hour.
Right. So we're following them. We're following Tom Moore being in all this cheesy dialogue, basically. You can't wait for him to die, and guess what? The movie does not disappoint. You will see him die.
He's fixated on her.
Britt Ekland and her husband are not necessarily in the ideal marriage.
That's the guy's name, by the way.
What?
Roland Parlay.
He's an asshole.
Immediately, as soon as he gets to Vail, gets a call where he has to go back to business.
Because he's a businessman.
He's a businessman.
I'm sorry something has come up. I'll be back tomorrow morning early. I promise.
He's important. He's a businessman. He's an asshole. And he's rich.
Well, that's Mrs. Parlay.
Parlay?
Well, husband owns half the world and nearly all of Vail.
And there's a really poorly shot sequence and poorly edited sequence where I don't think Eric Braeden is in any of the same shots with the other actors. I think it was all filmed separately. And
it does look really bad. You're right.
Another actor shows up who owns another like subsidiary.
That's the guy from...
This guy from Colombo.
The bad guy from that Colombo episode. Right?
Yes.
And they played this game of like...
Russian roulette.
Russian roulette.
He basically is going to kill this guy. Everything about this entire sequence is poorly shot and edited. Nothing is ever in the same frame, including all the actors, all the props.
It mainly sets up what a ruthless guy this is.
That's the whole point.
Yes. Right. But we should be clear, he doesn't kill the guy.
He doesn't because the Russian roulette bullet fails.
It doesn't matter if people kill themselves. It doesn't matter if people are murdered. It doesn't matter if people are ruined.
Well, everybody is just game for him.
He pulled the trigger on himself. So we know that
you're a madman.
He likes risk.
The winner.
As bad as this movie is, it does set up some foreshadowing.
The revolver that is pulled out in a really bad insert shot shows up at the end of this film.
Right.
But we'll get to that.
Right. Before he comes back from his business trip, we find out that our beloved Tom Moore,
the Morlock,
who can't wait to sexually harass somebody, is on his way to meet Britt Ekland.
Yes, and somehow he knows where she lives.
Who knows? It's not important how he knows.
He just knows.
He just knows. Because
they live in some chateau, like on the slopes of Vail, but he knows exactly where it is.
And by the way, he also doesn't know that the husband isn't there.
He also doesn't know that either. Yeah,
and he does some stupid ploy. I think he like falls in water.
Hey, beautiful, look, it's me, Tom, remember? I fell in the river bringing your milk.
Listen, I know I told you to go and take a cold shower, but there's no need to go to extremes.
Open the door, I'm freezing!
Which I think she kind of sees through, but she still lets him in.
She's nice. Maybe she thinks he's like cute, even though he's not, because he's the Morlock.
He's a Morlock.
Does she give him some warm clothes, or
she gives him like a robe?
Yeah,
it's probably Eric Braeden's robe.
Suddenly, the husband is coming back. We hear the helicopter.
And suddenly he's got a helicopter. Why he couldn't have flown a helicopter at the beginning of the movie?
Of course.
It's unclear.
But this is a very tense moment, folks. The helicopter's coming. Tom Moore is putting on has some ski clothes on.
He's not that nervous because he's actually like, kind of a dick. We actually haven't mentioned what an asshole this character is, by the way.
There is nothing likable.
Listen, man, I don't like you, and I never have. You're rude.
I'm not sure if that is like a dated thing or if he was supposed to be unlikable in 1974. Right. It's unclear, but he's extremely unlikable.
Very unlikable. So Eric Braeden is great. He comes in. He is like pretty much, immediately.
What are you doing with my wife?
What are you doing here? What the hell's going on? He's not friendly. And he is ready to...
Even though, like, nothing did happen.
What you're thinking is wrong. I fell in the stream.
Does Eric Braeden almost want his wife to flirt with guys so that he can, like, challenge them?
That's the bad writing of this film. Because it's unclear.
Yeah.
You have 2 minutes to get out.
Wait, his wife doesn't hear this conversation.
Britt Ekland is right there. He's talking about how, like, he's giving him, like, time.
To get out.
Yes.
Not because I'm coming after you in 5 minutes.
That's where you're not sure if, like, has this happened before?
Oh, and then that's where Tom Moore gets kind of upset. Like, you're a real jerk, man. Right. And he just...
Yeah, that's where you're like, all right, you deserve to die.
You got a beautiful lady here, and she is beautiful. I don't know what she's doing with a schmuck like you, though.
But basically...
He's basically plotting to kill him at this point.
He cannot wait to kill this guy.
And this is where the most dangerous game plot kicks in. And then you have, I guess, 7 or 8 minutes of
ski footage.
Insufferable ski footage. And because the version we watched is a VHS rip, everything looks like this gauzy haze.
You mean this footage that you're showing people right now?
Yes. Maybe this movie would be better if you watched like a restored 16 millimeter or 35 millimeter print of this.
It's a really good point.
Because the ski sequences would look better.
Maybe.
But then you're still dealing with a derivative plot and, mediocre acting on top of that, too.
By the way, since we're in the middle of this review, I thought it might be a good time to point out that we're trying to raise some money, try to get some sponsors.
Yeah, we want some money from what we're doing.
But I was thinking we might be able to lure or entertain...
Advertisers?
Advertisers who might be interested.
That would be nice.
Oh, by the way... Chris, I left this box of Coors Light.
Oh.
So
I don't like Coors Light, but I know other people do.
Well, you could put this box over to the side there.
Okay. All right. I will put it over here.
But I'm just going to go ahead and switch to my next drink.
By the way, have you ever had Carlsberg?
I haven't,
really good beer.
But I have had Coors Light.
I know. I've heard that before, but yes.
So anyway, sorry, I'm fixing my shirt. If any advertisers are interested in helping us out,
who's out there? Who knows?
The Silver Bullet is fantastic. So back to the movie, Chris.
Holy shit!
The most dangerous game plot kicks in.
Fully kicks in. We see Tom Moore skiing down. There's, again, advertisement for Vail.
Well, it could be anywhere because it's just like white.
It is Vail.
Snow.
It is definitely Vail.
On the slopes?
Yes, it's Vail. It's a Vail commercial. I swear to God. So Tom Moore...
It could be anywhere.
Tom Moore, who we don't care about and don't like, is skiing down Vail.
And by the way, there's never any point where you see the helicopter and like the skier, not the actor, in the same shot. They're all like juxtaposed differently.
So the chase really ensues. Besides being a Vail advertisement, we do see the lead character periodically skiing down the hill. Suddenly, the helicopter noise disappears. And Tom Moore's going, well, looks like I'm okay from here.
I made it from here. And he goes over like a ridge.
And it's a classic scene.
The helicopter's right there.
There it is. And there's the noise of the helicopter.
It's so dumb. I'd say it's one of the dumbest scenes, but it's funny.
He's got a blood capsule in his mouth.
You heard the helicopter nonstop the entire sequence, even though they're not in the same shot.
Right.
But then, like, the helicopter hides behind a ridge.
Well, this is a classic scene.
It's really funny.
It's really funny. And then the cold-blooded Braeden ties a rope to the injured
he needs to like
Moore.
Make it look for some reason that the character died.
I don't even know if he's trying to make accident. Is he trying to make it look like something, or is he just trying to like?
I think so. Yes. Drops him into the woods on the slope. When people find the body, they're like, "What's this rope tied around his leg?"
Right.
This rope was cut.
It's kind of weird. It's certainly going to bring a lot of questions.
It makes no sense.
Yeah, it's going to raise a lot of questions.
Like everything in this movie, nothing makes sense.
Now, for some reason, we thought Tom Moore was a character that would be one of the leads of this movie.
It's like Psycho.
He's dead.
The lead he thought was the main character is dead.
So Tom Moore is dead, folks. You know who's not dead? Joe Stryker.
Joe Stryker.
Yes, sir?
Did Tom Moore leave a call?
No, he didn't.
Well, thank you.
They both got off the plane
Yeah.
in the beginning. They talked about the pretzel.
Yeah, that's pretty much all we know about.
And that's all you know about Joe Stryker.
He's more reserved than Tom Moore. We learned that from the intro.
Do we?
Yeah, we did. Tom Moore's more, hey, hi, how you doing?
You don't know anything about Joe Stryker.
And Joe's more like, it's good to meet you, Tom. He's just a little bit more like laid back. He's not like interested in the pretzel as much as Tom Moore is.
Maybe.
No.
Sure.
he's much more, he's got glasses. Tom doesn't have glasses.
He's an intellectual because he has glasses.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
And we learned that he's an author.
Well, we do eventually, yes.
We do eventually, but it really doesn't matter when we learn this.
It's a weird coincidence that Eric Braeden then goes skiing and runs into Joe Stryker.
Complete coincidence.
Complete coincidence.
So the bad guy of the movie meets this other protagonist.
Unless you're supposed to think that Eric Braeden remembered him from the beginning when they first got off the plane and then was like, now I'm going to stalk him. But why? There's no evidence for any of that.
No.
Otherwise, in the movie, it's just a complete coincidence.
Right.
It's really bad.
It's really bad.
So why even have that character at the beginning? Just have that coincidence happen.
Well,
that's actually more interesting.
You're right.
But they contrive it to be like where then Joe Stryker is at the beginning getting off the plane with Tom Moore and Eric Braeden, who actually has his own helicopter, who shouldn't be on that plane. So none of that makes any sense.
Yeah. It doesn't really matter because this movie's just bad.
Yeah.
But what we do know is that this idea of life and death games and
the most dangerous game.
Well, I'm just going to call it the hunt. I don't want to keep saying the dangerous game. He loves the thrill.
Yeah.
The ultimate thrill.
He wants to dominate. That's the ultimate thrill.
And these guys are not really adversaries.
He wants to dominate men and women.
That's right. That's right, baby.
Men and women, there's really no big threat to him. He just wants to hunt people. He loves it so much after killing Tom Moore, he sets his sights on Joe Stryker. You can tell that he's luring him in. He's just sort of unnecessarily befriending him.
Yeah.
It seems odd.
He's drawing him in to like introduce him to Britt Ekland, his wife.
He specifically wants this guy to hit on his wife.
But now you're like, so he just does this?
Does he do this all the time?
Yeah.
Or is this a thirst that
and
he
if
got?
he does it all the time, why doesn't she say something?
Yeah. She knows that he's threatening, he's possessive, and he's an asshole.
Yeah. We don't know why she's still with him. Except she's vapid.
Well, because it's the mid-70s and apparently she's just a weak woman.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
like some wild new potion. It's just below the surface what we really are.
I can't wait for this guy to hit on my weak hot wife so I can kill him. That is pretty much the plot of the movie, by the way.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
He ends up meeting her.
Hello, Mrs. Draker.
Yeah.
And she finds out that she's the author of her favorite book. What a coincidence. which is this really bad, like, Lord of the Rings ripoff.
Angel and the Widget.
I just finished it. It's better than The Hobbit.
Well, we have the same taste, Shell.
You read it?
I wrote it.
He's deeper than Tom Moore.
He's an intellectual. He wears glasses.
In that he wears glasses, he writes books. She's more intrigued by him.
Because he wrote her favorite book.
That does help.
Even though there's no chemistry between them as characters or actors.
Right.
The only thing that connects them is he wrote the book she just read. That's basically all the connection you're going to get between these characters.
You're right. You're right. But I would also add that what we learn is that she likes him. She tolerated Tom Moore. She likes Joe Straker. And I think her husband wants her to actually be attracted a little bit to a guy.
Well, it's unclear. It
doesn't matter.
It's
he
not
just
really
wants
clear.
to kill the next guy.
And why Britt Ekland doesn't say this to Joe Straker?
Well, again, you seem to know. You seem to know that she wants to warn people that her husband's a killer. She does not know.
She does. She knows. She saw him threaten Tom Moore.
Right, but she didn't see him kill Tom Moore.
But she knows that he threatened him.
She knows that her husband is an asshole.
So she should be warning him instantly.
My husband's an asshole.
Yes.
You should
Please get away from here.
You should really leave.
Yes. She never says that.
I offered you my hospitality and you used it to seduce my wife.
You're out of your mind.
Outside. On the mountain. On your skis, Joe. And if you escape, you live. But I'm a good hunter, my man.
A game? Is that what this is to you?
You bet your ass.
We know that basically, at this point, it's just going to be another cat and mouse game.
The most dangerous game, too.
Right. But what happens, Chris? Tell me.
Well, it's another excruciating ski sequence. But instead of a helicopter, we've got a hang glider. Why he just didn't do the helicopter again? It would have been instantly easy for him to kill him.
And there's your poster.
Because that ends up being his
Does he have a bow and arrow on the hang glider?
Yes. Yeah. But he also still has the revolver that we saw in the Russian roulette scene earlier.
It comes back.
The big climax is, for some reason,
It's
Roland.
not that big of a climax.
Oh, it's an anticlimax. And then does the Russian roulette game with him. Instead of just killing him, why he didn't do that earlier with Tom.
Right.
Who knows?
He doesn't do it with Tom.
He does it here.
Yeah, for some reason he does it here. But after the hang glider.
Right.
But ultimately he just wants to do the Russian roulette again.
He wants to do that again. Even though he knew earlier Tom would fly instantly into like the helicopter chassis and kill himself.
Right.
One click.
Instead here he's like, I'm gonna like throw you the revolver. And Tom obliges and shoots him and kills him instantly. And like we said, it's the definition of anticlimax.
Yeah.
The Colorado Ski Patrol has just reported the finding of the body of Roland Parley. Parley's body was discovered in a gorge deep in the Vail backcountry north of the Bowls. Meanwhile, search parties are continuing their efforts to locate the body of Tom Moore, who it is believed was killed by Parley sometime last week.
Not there was any sort of like tension or anything before.
Yeah. And there is a final connection with Britt Ekland.
At this point, the princess usually finds someone who loves her.
She did.
And that's the end of the film.
And it is a frickin' short film. As it should be.
It's an hour and 24 minutes.
Because it's a piece of shit.
Even at an hour and 24 minutes, it still like doesn't have enough plot.
So the point is, we would give this movie an F.
But the ultimate question is it a fun bad movie? Is this entertaining bad?
You're right. I'd give it an F+.
If they can find it, should they watch it as an entertaining bad film?
Okay. A lot of people will watch bad movies for fun, right?
Yes.
Is this an actual fun bad movie, or is it just so bad that we really shouldn't waste your time anymore and tell you to never watch this? I would actually say watch it once.
I would say no, because I think the excruciating ski sequences are not interesting. They're not well filmed, and they take up so much time.
All right, let me amend this. Get the movie somehow and just fast forward and listen to some of the cheesy dialogue.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
And maybe the death scenes?
Yeah. I mean, I guess the one death scene.
The one death scene on the helicopter. Folks, that's all we're going to really say.
It's a good relic of the 70s. Yeah. Let's just say that.
Look at that. That's what else a man could ask for. Must be a welcoming committee, huh? What a high-class piece of merchandise that is.
I have a car rented. Do you need a ride?
Yes. Hey, swell, thanks. Listen, let me make a fast phone call home. The ladies worry about me when I don't talk to them. Okay.
It is mid-70s, and it is cheap, and it is low-budget shit. And I would say that the acting is pretty bad, except for maybe
I think Eric Braeden is actually, he's a good villain.
Eric Braeden pulls it off.
Like I said, he was the villain in Escape from Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Escape from Planet of the Apes.
He's got a good intellectual menace to him.
Yeah.
Some idiot, the orange idiot, went on television and claimed all kinds of things about Newsom and California and the water distribution. All nonsense. Disinformation, period. The essence of fascism is to simplify complex problems and feed people who don't have time to read some bullshit.
But you know what I think is the ultimate thrill?
What?
Coors Light. It's the silver bullet in Russian roulette I wouldn't mind taking.
I would.
The sky